Hello and welcome to week 2 of our end of year private practice series. I actually can't believe it's the end of the year already. This year has just flown by. But today we are going to be talking about systems. So last week we did a review and reflect, and I'll link to that video here and in the notes. I've also made a playlist so that you can go back and have a look at that one too. And that is super important, and I really do recommend watching that one first if you haven't already. But today we are talking about systems, and I'm going to go through some processes that you can do at the end of the year to really tie everything up and get ready for the new year. So let's jump straight in. So my first bit of advice is to back up your computer. Now, whether you are using a local computer or a cloud-based computer system like Google Drive, OneDrive, things like that, you want to make sure that all of your really important information is backed up. So if you are using your local computer, which basically means that you're saving everything into your documents or a folder that you've created on your actual computer system. So if you lost that computer, if it was in a fire, if someone stole it, you wouldn't be able to access that stuff ever again. So that's what I mean by local computer. If you're doing that, you can get it so it automatically backs up. All of my stuff automatically backs up to OneDrive. I actually don't know how I set that up. The person that set up my computer probably did that, and I don't even know how to access it. So kind of useless for me. However, what I do at the end of each month, so it'd be a really good time to start doing that now at the end of the year and then get into a practice of doing this monthly. But what I do is back up everything onto a little thing like this, a USB drive, so that if anybody stole my computer or it went on fire or something like that, then I would have this that I could plug in to a new computer. So that's one way that you can back up your local computer. Now, if you're using a cloud-based system, so for my actual business and for the majority of my clients' businesses, we keep everything on Google Drive. Now, the main reason for that is because it's so much easier to share things with people. So the fact that I work for somebody else, I can create a document and easily show that document to my client. They can make edits and I will see that straight away. So that's the beauty of having a cloud-based system like Google Drive. However, I do think it's also important to just back that up every once in a while. So I wouldn't download every single piece of information that's on that platform, because the likelihood of it disappearing forever or the system completely crashing where you can never access that again is really low. But I would still make sure that documents such as my master client list and things like that would be downloaded, just so I had that information to hand if I ever needed it. So that would be my first suggestion for you, is back up what you have done on your computer. If you are using your local computer, I would also really encourage you to move to a cloud-based system like Google Drive. I have loads of videos on why Google Workspace is great for therapists in private practice. I will link some of them too, but I would highly suggest moving to a cloud-based system, even if you work alone, because eventually you might take on a VA, and also it's just a lot safer. There's much less possibility of losing your work. The second thing to have a look at is your paperwork. Have you made any updates this year that need to be reflected in your paperwork? Have you changed your cancellation policy? Are your fees going up next year? Or is there a new system that you're using for the way that people book appointments with you and things like that? So now's a really good time to have a look at what's in your paperwork and what might need updating. And then what you need to do is communicate those updates to your client. So I would suggest sending them an email with the new paperwork attached one way or another. So whether you're using Signable or a Google form, something like that, I would send the paperwork so that they can re-sign it. But I would also highlight in the email what has changed. So whether that is your cancellation policy, your fees, whatever it is that you have changed, I would highlight those changes in the email as well. To keep track of who has signed this paperwork and keep copies of all of this paperwork, I would also suggest that you download my free resource, which is my client master list. This is going to be one spreadsheet, which is going to have all of your client information on it. So you can have your current clients, there's a tab for your past clients, there's also a tab for a waiting list and a tab for your inquiries. So anything to do with your clients can all be put on this one spreadsheet. There's also a video on my YouTube channel of how to use this spreadsheet, which will be sent when you sign up for the free download. So I would really encourage you to do that as well, so that you can keep track of everything like this. The next thing is to have a look at your client files themselves. So I know for most of you, you are going to have to keep client files for a certain number of years. I think it's around 7 years. But are there any client files that you can now delete? Are there client files that you can move into a folder that you don't need to look at all of the time? So I would make sure that all of the information on your clients is in one specific place. And I would recommend having a digital folder for each of your clients and making sure that all of their information is in that one folder. And then it's really easy to be able to move that folder to different places and eventually delete it when you need to. Talking about client files, now is a really good time to also contact your clients and see if they have any updates. So you may have been working with a client for a couple of years and you sent them their paperwork and they filled it out with their address and all of that information, but you may not know if they have moved, if they've got a new GP, if they have a new professional involved in their care. So now is a really great time to send them an update form. Now, I would suggest doing this on Google Forms, which are free to create. I would ask all of your clients to complete that form so that you can make sure that you have all of the up-to-date information for your clients going into the new year. And I would recommend doing that annually as well. Next is looking at the apps that you are using in your business. So some apps may be free. So I use a project management app called Asana. That is free. But I also use Trello and I also use Notion. Now, although all of these are free, I use them for different things. So information is all over the place, which can be really confusing for my team. So I've started to look at which one is giving me the majority of the features that I need. And I'm just going to go with that one. So it's not confusing. And also so I don't have logins all over the place and project information. And it's kind of a waste of time really when you are using a project management tool, but you don't know which one that you are using for which project. So things like that can be really useful, even if they're free, to cut out of your life, because there's just no point in using too many apps. It can waste a lot of time. I also have used Dubsado for the last couple of years, which is a CRM, and it's a way that people can book, appointments with me and stuff like that. But I just don't need all of the features that Dubsado offers anymore. It was super useful to me when I was taking on new clients and I was doing online setups. But now I'm only really using the scheduling feature, which I can get from another system for so much cheaper, literally like less than 10% of what I'm paying. So that is a cost that I can just cut out of my business straight away. I've already put a date in my calendar to cancel it for when it comes up for renewal. So have a look at where you are using free apps and if they are still serving you in your business or your personal life. But also have a look at anything you're paying for. Is it still giving you what it used to? Because sometimes we can pay for things and it's great at the beginning, but then eventually you either grow or change and it's just not serving you the way it used to. I have always recommended Signable as an e-signature platform, for example. But for somebody who has Google Workspace or Power Diary, they really don't need Signable and on top of that. So that's another way to just, even though it's a pay-as-you-go app, and I still definitely say that it's a great app for therapists in private practice if you're not using those other two systems, actually that's something you can just, no, I don't need to spend that money anymore. So it's something you can cut out of your budget. On the flip side of that, is there something you're doing really manually that an app could actually help you with? So it's more than likely going to save you time, but it could also save you money as well if you look at the time that you're spending doing something and how much that costs you versus having this app do it for you. So is there a way that you can automate some of the work that you are doing? And a great way to find that out is to actually track your time and see where you are spending your time and whether somebody else or something else can do that for you, and it's going to save you time and money and also going to be more efficient for your business. So with apps, you want to look at the ones you're using, making sure that they're still serving you and getting rid of any that don't anymore, whether that's free apps or things that you are paying for. And on the flip side of that, you want to have a look at everything that you're doing manually and whether an app could actually help you with that. So that would be my final tip for systems this week. December is a great time to look at these things because you usually do have a little bit more time. I know lots more clients cancel at this time of year because they have, Christmas parties to go to, or they are spending their time, researching presents or buying presents or wrapping presents. They've just got other stuff going on in December. So usually it can be a bit quieter for you. You'll also probably have some time off work, and that's a great time to do things like your tax return, to back up your computer, like I said, but also have a look at what you are spending your money on when you're doing your tax return and have a look if that is still serving you today. So thank you so much for watching this video. We have one more week left of our end of year video series, and that is going to be all about finances. So I will catch you then. Thanks so much for watching.